Hi, I'm Marie Elizabeth Molly, and this is Relationship Alchemy. Today we're talking about treating your relationship like your home. Imagine buying a gorgeous home and then not maintaining it at all. Imagine never changing the air conditioning filters or waterproofing the roof or changing the air pump, the heat pump for the pool, or checking if your beams are termite ridden, any of those things. Well, we've been having this experience, my partner and I, for the past 6 months in our new home in Mexico that was built about 11 years ago by a local prominent architect and builder family and then not maintained. So we've had one or another emergency maintenance situation crop up, it seems like almost every week. And because I think about relationships all the time, it got me thinking about what we do in our relationships, how we expect them to just continue fine with no maintenance, kind of like this house. And just like this house, they tend to start to fall apart, right? If you're not putting energy in, if you're not deliberately cultivating your connection, if you're not making an effort to be attentive to how your relationship feels on a day-to-day basis or a week-to-week or month-to-month basis, your relationship gives to you what you put into it, just like a home. And so I implore you to begin considering your relationships in a similar way that you would your home and do regular maintenance on them. What does that mean? It means a few things. One, you could sit down and assess, kind of like doing a house inspection. Hey, how are we doing? How are we doing in this area, this area, this area, right? How are we doing around communication? How are we doing around having shared interests? How are we doing around how much time we spend being social and how much time we spend together at home? How are we doing with our sex life? How are we doing with how we relate to our families as a team? I mean, there's how are we doing with our finances? There's all these different areas that matter in our relationships that are worth checking in on from time to time, instead of just going on automatic pilot until it's a breakdown, until something breaks down, and then you have to spend so much more energy and time and angst and money to fix it. Whereas if you had been doing the maintenance all along, you may not have had to spend all that much. It's a new idea. It's also something I recommend with our bodies. We do a similar thing with our bodies, right? We don't give them what they need day after day after day. For many of us, we're not sleeping enough. We're not eating as well as we could. We're not moving as much as we could. And then we're shocked when our bodies display symptoms of imbalance. It's like, yeah, but you haven't been actually taking care of your body. Our relationships are similar. They begin to display symptoms of imbalance when we don't tend to them. And one of the most important ways to tend to our relationships is to be tending to ourselves within them. What does that mean? Well, if you're taking good care of yourself, like you are, again, similar to the body question, if you're getting enough sleep, if you're eating mostly healthily, if you are doing work that you enjoy, or at least doing activities that you enjoy outside of work, are you expressing yourself creatively, if you're moving your body, all these things that honor you, then if you're doing those things, you can show up to your relationship with so much more spaciousness, generosity, understanding, care, because you're well-resourced. And when you're not well-resourced in your relationship because you're running yourself into the ground, then you're likely going to show up to your relationship and pick a fight or pick apart what your partner's doing and criticize them, or basically manufacture things to be upset about because you're already upset, because you could be secretly feeling bad about yourself because you're not doing the things that make you feel good. So back to this home idea. Consider treating your relationship like a home that needs regular maintenance, where you actually pay attention to the creaky floor or the leak that created damage in the wall, and you fix the wall because you don't want mold. Where's the mold beginning to grow in your relationship? And I don't just mean romantic relationships. I mean the relationships that are most important to you in your life, romantic and otherwise. Is there a place you've been avoiding looking, a crevice you've been avoiding looking into, where some mold is starting to grow and it's starting to affect your connection? Are there resentments that need to be released? Is there something that you need to talk about that you've been avoiding and it's starting to fester like a stain on the rug or chip crumbs left in the corner that are attracting bugs? My invitation is to begin considering your relationships like your home. And especially if you're a homeowner, you know how important it is to get on that maintenance. That's my invitation, is to consider your relationships as needing that kind of maintenance as well. And the best way to maintain your relationships is to have attention on them. What happens for what I see a lot, what happens for a lot of us is we find a relationship we like, and it's kind of like, oh, check that box, done, got the relationship. Now I'm gonna make the millions, right? Like there's a way that once we get into a relationship, it's as if a box has been checked. Our loneliness is going to forever be assuaged because we've nailed down this person to be with. And now we can turn our attention to other bigger and better things. And that mindset, that way of approaching relationship is the actual seed of its eventual demise. So instead, I invite you to hold your relationship or relationships, if you're not currently in a romantic one. I want you to think about friends who matter to you. I want you to think about family relationships that matter to you. Hold them like a home, like a valuable asset in your life that you take care of by giving it attention, that you nurture and water and feed with attention, with curiosity, with initiating conversations about difficult topics so that you can feel closer on the other side by creating real intimacy. That's my invitation for today. I'm wishing you a beautiful, love-filled home in which to live in all your relationships. And until next time, remember that a great relationship starts with you.